for coming today to celebrate with our community a truly milestone day for our Lafourche Parish, for our region, for our state, and for our nation. We appreciate you being here. I'd like to ask everyone to stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. It's my pleasure to call up Miss Jenny Rodrigue, a vocalist with our own Sacred Heart Catholic Church out of Cutoff, who will sing the National Anthem. Let's turn it on and make sure. Testing.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please have a seat. All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Henri Boulet. I'm the Executive Director of the Louisiana Highway 1 Coalition, and thank you for joining our community today. It is my pleasure to introduce Archie Chasson, President of Lafourche Parish Government, to give you your official welcome. Archie.
You know, when I used to go to church as a kid, there was an old hymn, and it started with, "Oh, what a glorious day." And today is truly a glorious day. It's some 25 years in the making of people who have worked hard every day to see this project through, and I'm humbled and honored to stand here as probably the youngest guy in the group who has ever worked on this, to be able to be here today to break ground on the last segment of this. This is something that is not only going to reinvest in our local economy, but reinvest in our national economy as we make a better gateway for the nation's energy future. So I'm happy for all of you who are not from Lafourche Parish today to be here with you, along with Councilman Daniel Lorraine, Councilman William Adams, Councilman Terry Araby, and Councilman Armand Otan. They're all here somewhere, guys. But we appreciate you guys coming, spending some time in Lafourche Parish. We hope you stick around for a while. And remember, it is the place you want to live, work, and play. So don't forget to come back. But it's my distinct honor this morning to introduce a man who really needs no introduction in a room like this. He's a man who has served 2 terms as our governor here in Louisiana, and has made tremendous investments in not only coastal protection and restoration, but hurricane protection for our local community, and has made transportation infrastructure, including LA1, a huge priority of his administration. We wouldn't be here today without him and many others from our congressional delegation to members of the federal agencies who work so hard on this. We're happy to have him here today. Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Governor John Bel Edwards. Oh, whoa, I messed that one up. So sit down, let's try that again.
Governor Billy Nugget.
Governor John Bel Edwards, guys, I'm sorry.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Councilman Chasson. It's good to be here with you all today. They gave me about 12 pages of written instructions for this speech, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. But it is great to be here with all of you. I'm excited about this project. You can't wish these things into existence. It takes a lot of teamwork, a lot of hard work, and it takes years. I do want to thank our congressional delegation because there were many meetings both in the state and in Washington and with the U.S. Department of Transportation that they were instrumental in, and that was Senators Cassidy and Kennedy, Congressman Garrett Graves. I want to thank all the locals, and I see the LA1 Coalition shirts. This is probably the best example I can think of teamwork between the private sector, the local folks here in Lafourche Parish, but also state and federal government to make this happen, and then to keep working to make sure that as the project grew more expensive, we identified the resources that we were going to need to keep it on track. And speaking of persistence and determination, there is nobody that I have ever met who is more persistent, more determined than Henri. So let's give him. This is only a slight exaggeration. When my earliest days as governor, and we're realizing we have a $2 billion budget deficit, Henri was there asking for money for this project. And he never stopped asking. We went to work, and we actually found a way to do it. But that's that persistence that I'm talking about. You know, the infrastructure of our state is a huge priority for us, whether it's coastal restoration and protection. And I will say we are on pace to set records again this year with our investment here in Lafourche Parish and next door in Terrebonne Parish as well. But this project is so important because almost 20% of our oil and gas production as a country is serviced out of Port Fourchon. 90% of all the oil and gas that comes out of the Gulf is serviced at Port Fourchon. And as a result, anytime those 1,300 or so heavy trucks every day can't get down Highway 1, that costs the United States of America about $528 million a day in GDP. So this is an important project, and I'm happy to have been part of it. I want to thank everybody who played any role. And I'm going to remind some of you, because some of you out there are pretty young, this elevation of Highway 1 started with Mike Foster as governor. And then it continued under Kathleen Blanco, it continued under Bobby Jindal, and now we are in a place where is it 5 years? 5 years? Five. All right, Sean is yelling at me. He don't want me to overpromise. In several years, we'll be elevated on LA1 all the way from Golden Meadow down to Port Fourchon. So I'm happy about that. Look, I'm gonna knock it off there, but I do want to thank the legislative delegation who is here this morning, and they do a great job representing you all. You're going to hear from some of them at least in just a few minutes, but Senator Facey and Representative Tanner McGee. I think we have Z Zarang here as well. Z somewhere, there you are, Z. That's why I didn't see you. You're looking like you're in the media over there. Okay. But thank y'all for your work. Look, everybody, let's have a great day. Let's celebrate this. Let's pray we don't have another hurricane this year, that we're spared that damage, and please be mindful of the heat. It is record-breaking heat out there, and I know that some of you get out there and work hard every day regardless, so please take care of yourself. Thank you all, and God bless. I'm going to be followed by my Secretary of the Department of Transportation and Development, who is the biggest champion for infrastructure that I know. He leads the group called AASHTO. He can tell you what that stands for. I think it's the American State Transportation Officials something or other. But he leads that group all across the country because all of the other transportation secretaries in the United States of America have recognized his experience, his expertise, and there's not been a project that was more important to him than this one right here at LA1. So please help me to make welcome Dr. Sean Wilson.
So officially, it's called the American Association of State Highway Transportation Officials, and I've got an even better title than that now from Michael Henry. He named me King of Infrastructure because I funded this project in part with the help of many people in this room and a federal grant, and we've done more than most other departments, all other transportation departments in that process. So thank you, Michael, for sharing that. It's exciting to be with you today. We've got a lot of people to thank in this process. But there's some details I think it's important to get out of the way, and that's what my job is as secretary, is to share some of those details with you so that all of the important people behind me could add additional thanks and celebration for this project. Phase 2 will elevate about 8.3 miles of highway from Golden Meadow to Leeville. It's going to look a lot like what you see over here, except it's going to now be over there. Elevating this corridor has been a priority since Governor Foster's administration, as Governor Edwards just said, but there were several secretaries from CAM to Secretary Bradbury to Secretary LaBasse, who's both are here, and Secretary Ankner that worked on this project and helped move it forward. With the efforts from state, local, and federal and industry partners, funding is now in place to have made this possible, and be grateful that we awarded this project when we did, and not in this economy because of the cost of materials. Through the years, there's been significant work on this project before we even broke ground. LA1 is advancing in large part to the community where we sit today and the belief that this corridor is critical to industry and tourism. And as the governor says, I've had the opportunity to work with states all across this country. These type of partnerships don't just happen. In 2020, with the help of Michael Henry and Claire Troike from Congressman Scalise's office. Where's Claire? Claire's here. Claire's over there. Thank you, Claire. In 2020, US DOT awarded Louisiana $135 million from the Infrastructure for Rebuilding America's grant. This was the largest grant that was awarded in 2020, and that is worth applauding. We are thankful to so many folks, including Governor Edwards, our congressional delegation, and all those who were instrumental in positioning our state for this successful award. I remember the meeting that we had at the most appropriate time in Congressman Scalise's office with the leadership from Louisiana, including the congressmen and senators and House and Senate leaders, as well as industry leaders, and it made a huge difference. In addition to this $135 million grant that we received, we also got another $150 million of construction funding that are coming from the BP economic damage monies, which was committed by Act 443 of the state's 2019 regular session. And Representative McGee was there. I remember those final days of that negotiation to dedicate money to this project. And then finally, additional funds were pledged through state capital outlay, the Greater Lafourche Port Commission, the Lafourche Parish government, and from local landowners, and several significant contributions from the oil and gas community across the state, including the Louisiana One Coalition. And speaking of that coalition, it has performed in unimaginable ways, amassing such a large group of industry stakeholders. We opened bids for this project on October 6th of last year, and the contract to construct Phase 2 was awarded to James Construction, and I saw Chet somewhere around here. Chet's over here. I like to say early and under budget, and if it's not, call Chet. I'll be posting his cell phone number on social media. LA1 is projected to be completed by the end of 2027, weather permitting, and we all know what that looks like. So there's more parties to plan, and Governor Henry has assured me that we will be invited to that last party. So LA1 is not only a win for Louisiana, but for the nation as well, and advancing this project will certainly strengthen the state's economy ensuring the region continues to be a leader in servicing the nation's oil and natural gas production. We are, in fact, advancing mega projects here in Louisiana for transportation to make it a better place to live, work, and visit. Without our federal partners, we would not be here today. And Wes Bollinger, our state leader, and Mark, please stand up and be recognized. They are working side by side with us to make this happen. And before I introduce our next speaker, there's some other folks that you need to know who are going to be in your community making a difference. James Construction Group is the contractor. CE&I firm is ECM Consultants and GIS. The DOTD project coordinator is Chris Rogers. Project management team, please stand up because they've been here forever working on this project. Anna Hanks, Tim Nickel, and Ryan Morvant. And the design firm that worked on this project was HNTB, and they're here as well. So my job now is to say thank you for all the support and work that we've received, but I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that we have a leader in Washington representing us, working with us, that has a crackerjack staff on all matters of infrastructure. He returns my call personally when we call. He is always there to listen. He walks really fast when you go meet him because he's usually going to another meeting in the Capitol. And I've had the privilege and the honor to do that with Senator Cassidy. And on a personal note, I appreciate his courage and his leadership in being one of the individuals to help ensure that the bipartisan infrastructure law, among other great things, are happening because of his leadership. So if I was a better king, I'd give you my crown. But other than that, I'll just say welcome, Senator, and the mic is yours.
I will be short, but let me congratulate you. The first time I came here and drove through that toll booth and got a ticket without knowing that I was driving through the toll booth, I saw your vision of making this happen. Now, this is important for this area, but let me just put this in a bigger perspective. When we passed the bipartisan infrastructure bill, there's a lot of folks that didn't have the vision of how that could change our state. There's a lot of folks who didn't have the vision of how that could change our nation. They had not seen it. They could not believe it could occur. I had seen here. I had seen LA1. I had seen from administration to administration, Honoré Boulay and others coming up to nag the heck out of me, and others to make it happen. And as I'm driving along and I'm seeing that superstructure, I'm thinking, whoa, this is a vision. This is a vision that we have here, but we can have across our state, and we can have across our nation. So I will thank you for getting this done, and thank you for giving us the vision who worked on the bipartisan infrastructure bill. There's going to be a lot of ribbon cuttings over the next year, over the next 8 years, and it starts here. Thanks. Hey, I'm looking for Big Mike. Where's Big Mike? Oh, how did I miss Big Mike? Hey, brother. Good seeing you.
Thank y'all, and thank y'all all for being here. It's been an honor to be here with you today and a real pleasure to celebrate this groundbreaking. As others have said, it has been a long road to getting here. It took a lot of hard work and many good folks over a lot of years to put this together. One recent milestone, which Sean had mentioned earlier, was Act 443 in 2019. That was the largest infrastructure bill in the history of the state that dedicated $690 million to 10 projects across Louisiana. And that included our great $150 million we needed to begin this project for the LA1 project. We would not be celebrating this groundbreaking today without that bill. That set us up for success. It allowed the state to have its own funds to pledge as part of the infrastructure grant application the following year. So we need to thank the legislators that made that possible. Representative Tanner McGee, who got it started on the House side. Senate President Paige Cortez, who brought it through the Senate with Senator Rick Ward and Senator Narby Chabert. They fought for the legislation in Baton Rouge, and that helped get us where we are today. On behalf of the people of District 20, I want to thank them for their hard-earned work. I want to congratulate the entire LA1 Coalition team. This is the big win for the community, a big win for the industry partners, and a big win for Louisiana. And as your senator, I will continue on that same path. I'd like to now turn it over to Representative Joseph Ogeron. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all very much for being here. Thank you, Henri, for at least bringing us together with some air condition on this hot day. This might be the largest infrastructure project in my district, probably for a very, very, very long time. Thank you very much. People had told me don't ask Sean for any more, but Sean, I'm already on record. I want my bridges fixed post-Ida and everything else. So, growing up down here and driving to Fouchon, I remember my dad donating to LA1 Coalition for a super highway. And at the time, I was like, a super highway from Golden Meadow to Fouchon? I can't believe it. It's like a dream. Well, with Port Fouchon becoming such a large energy infrastructure facility, and not only energy, but our seafood and commercial seafood, as well as ecotourism and recreational activities, it's also important. And in the light of Hurricane Ida, building up our coastal resiliency to be able to get here is super important. And this project really is a dream coming, and it shows the culmination of state, federal, local, Port Commission, the LA1 Coalition with the tenacious directors, Roy Francis and Henri, getting all of this together to make this happen. It really is a dream, and it's just an honor to be here with all of y'all today to celebrate this last step, phase of building this. Speaking of dreaming, my neighbor, legislative neighbor to the west, who's also our Speaker Pro Temp, is next, Tanner McGee.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate y'all having me here to give me the opportunity to speak. Looking around the room and seeing everybody on stage, it almost feels like this was an easy thing to do with so much support, but actually back when we first filed this bill, House Bill 578, it was not my first attempt at it. It was actually my second attempt at it. The first attempt at it didn't even get a committee hearing because nobody wanted to hear a bill about infrastructure at that time. But we were persistent. We built our partnership. Henri engaged me the next session and said, I think we have something here we can work off of. And we started putting all the partners together to really make a big push. And so now this will always be my favorite thing I've ever done in the legislature because it's so rare in this day and age where you can actually put something together, get bipartisan support, and actually see it get built. And so I know what it means for the people of this community. I know what it means for our region. It's not just the community here. It's for everybody in Southeast Louisiana. And I really feel like this was the first start to investing in infrastructure in Louisiana again. And so I'm extremely proud of it, and I'm glad I could play a small part of it. That said, I'm very happy to welcome Colette Hursties with Shell to give the speech because Shell has been an amazing partner with Louisiana and this region. So Colette from Shell.
Thank you, Representative McGee. I'm Colette Hursties, Senior Vice President for the Gulf of Mexico, and I'm glad and grateful to share this day and really this joy in this amazing project and accomplishment with all of you. After all the speakers that have come before me, there's not that much left unsaid, but I will say a few things. This place and this community and this project all have a special place in my heart. I grew up in New Orleans, and my mom is from Thibodaux, and I spent summers visiting my cousins in their camps on Grand Isle. And I had the chance to bring my boys back to Grand Isle to learn how to throw a cast net. And actually, my uncle is in the audience today, who was one of the people who was down here teaching me how to throw a cast net. And I think he's getting teary, which might make me cry as well. And now I have the honor of leading our Deepwater Gulf of Mexico business and all of the business that it brings to this community in Port Fourchon in addition. I've had a lot of reasons to come down here through the years, but I've literally never been as happy to make this trip today. I didn't think I was going to be able to make it because I have to fly to Singapore later today, and I had to squeeze it in, just given the importance of this moment. Especially after Hurricane Ida, when this community lost so much. The one thing that days like today remind us of is that you cannot take hope away from people that have vision, faith, and who work hard, as the people here, underneath this tent to bring this project to a reality. I learned a long time ago never to tell someone from down the bayou that they can't accomplish something. We always find a way. Today's transformative investment in this project will unleash this community's economy, unlock the potential of the business, and like ours, literally pave the way for the next wave of energy projects and investments in this rich basin, and usher in a new era of prosperity that gives our region the best and the brightest reason to come home for good. To the LA1 Coalition, thank you for bringing together a true coalition across government, industry, and community to tackle one of the most important issues facing our business, our state, and our nation. There are many other people who I'm representing today, many other companies. They're listed here. I'm going to read out their names, and what I'd like for you to do is just clap as I read them, because this is truly, truly what collaboration looks like. Okay, so now you have to clap. Greater Lafourche Port Commission, Shell, Chevron, Woodside Energy, Edison Schwest Offshore, Lafourche Parish Government, LA1 Coalition, Hess Corporation, Talos Energy, W&T Offshore, Envan Energy Group, LLOG, Murphy EMP, Loop, Cantium, Noble Energy, Arena Offshore, Wisner Land Trust, ConocoPhillips, Halliburton, Hornbeck, Callaway Land Corp, and Equinor. Thank you for seeing all of us as partners in the future of this community and this moment. With that, I'll hand the mic over to Mr. Llewellyn Petrie.
Ça va? Hello. So I was requested by Chet Chasson of the Greater Lafourche Port Commission and Henri Boulet of the LA1 Coalition whether I would tell you the untold true story of the history of the LA1 Coalition. Now, they asked me that right after I said to Chet Chasson and Henri Boulet, would you please ask me to tell the untold true story of the LA1 Coalition? So 25 years ago in 1997, I was the lawyer for the Greater Lafourche Port Commission, and Ted Falgu was the director of the Greater Lafourche Port Commission. And one day, Ted called me on the phone, back when they were attached to the wall, and Ted said, Llewellyn, do you know how to make a corporation? And I'm like, well, yeah, but what's this for? And he says, we're going to build an elevated highway from Golden Meadow to Port Fourchon. And I said, we're going to what? It seemed so bizarre at the time. It seemed so unreal at the time. But we started it. We wrote up the articles. Ted had a few opinions about what should be in them. We formed an executive committee. The original executive committee was Ted as the chairman. Hank Danos is here today and treasurer for life. Roger White of Edison Schwest, I don't believe could make it here today. Joe Leonard, who has passed away, and myself. And then we hired Roy Francis. as the first executive director. And that decision to say we would hire a full-time executive director and devote resources to paying that person and make it their job was key, or none of this would ever have happened. And Roy also, if I thought Ted had a few opinions, Roy also had a few opinions. But we had the first meeting of the business community of South Lafourche at the public library, and we told everyone, we'd like you to help support this financially, but we want you all to commit for at least 3 years. And here we are 25 years later. We did things, small things. We took when this thing seemed impossible, we just were never afraid to do the little things that made it ultimately seem inevitable, and here we are today. And so for the closing remarks, I'll turn it over to Chet Chasson, Executive Director, Greater Lafourche Port Commission.
Thank you. All right. So, a couple things before I get started on my remarks. The governor specifically asked me to apologize to Representative Ogeron for not calling his name out. I did it. Make sure I did it. Governor, he's here. All right. Secondly, I need to tell my wife I need to buy some more shirts, I guess, because I wear the same one, it looks like, all the time. But I really like this shirt. It's cool. It's pretty fitting that I'm standing up here, kind of Archie and I bookending the speakers, kind of because we're shaped like bookends. But also because we have the same last name, although he doesn't know how to spell his. But despite all the laughs that we're having here, this is an awesome day. I have to recognize, and I always get emotional, so I'm gonna try not to do that. Board members of the Port Commission, if there's many of them here, can you stand, please? Can you stand? We have some past board members as well. It's because of them that we were able to put forth $25 million to this portion of the project, as well as do all of the mitigation for the LA1 project throughout the years. We have another about $1 million to go for that. We've spent $4 million on mitigation thus far because that's what we do every day. We know how to build marsh. We know how to sustain that marsh as well. So we're proud to be a part of that. Executive board members of the LA1 Coalition, please stand. Thank you all for the tireless effort that we've had throughout the years. I mean, everything's been said. I can't say too much other than this project. You know, we've talked a lot about the history of it and where it's come from. I look at it as a future, where we're going. Everything that we're going to do into the future is because we have a resilient, sustainable connection to it. And that's why this project is so important. This is step one, not the last step. We're moving forward. That's where I get emotional. Doing great things for our community because we love it. Growing up here all of my life, this is not a job. This is passion, and we push forward every day. I always make everybody cry when I talk too, so I'm sorry. Anyway. It's a wonderful day. A lot of people worked very hard on this. Everybody, again, pushing in the same direction. We can get a lot of things accomplished, and I can't wait to see what the next 30 years look like. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Chet concludes the formal comments today. We're going to be serving lunch right over here, beginning right now. I'd like to, in closing, just say thank you to the entire community for supporting LA1. Thank you to, our Lafourche Parish government, who over the years has done tremendous things for the project. Thank you to the port. who has really backed up this project with tremendous commitments. I'd like to thank our levee district, who does a great job of protecting the road a little further north by giving our community levee protection. Governor, thank you again for all of the state support. Senator Cassidy, thank you for your tireless efforts and supporting us in the infra request. And we're grateful to Congressman Scalise, of course, Congressman Graves, Senator Kennedy, our entire delegation, and past members of our delegation. You know, the days of Billy Tauzin, of Charlie Melanson representing us, it goes that far back where they got $1 million here or $1 million there for LA1, but that helped us move to the next step. So please enjoy your day.